Well, hello everybody. I hope you're all doing great. My name is Kamil Shamganov, and I'm Director of Engineering at Winncom Technologies. And we're continuing our series of webinars on products and services that we successfully provide to our customers. And today's subject is network monitoring and management, a direction at Winncom Technologies with which I'm always getting involved since my first day at Winncom back in 2006. And at the time, I worked on a large nationwide monitoring project that covered hundreds of thousands of devices for a large tier 1 carrier. And we continue doing that on our daily basis. And for those of you folks who is only starting to learn about Winncom Technologies and our services and products portfolio, we're global distributors specializing in everything wireless. But besides wireless, we have a wide range of products that might help you cover your telecommunications and IT needs. We have extensive product portfolio, and it includes more than 70 product lines, 70 manufacturers. And here on this slide, you can see some of the key manufacturers we work with. It is hard to overestimate the importance of network monitoring and management systems in current networks. We, Winncom Technologies, often witness how lack or poorly implemented network management or monitoring systems cause severe problems on network owners and operators. And without complete visibility on components that make up your network, you do not really have information on how your network performs. And important questions like how much traffic each component of the network is generating or passing. Is there any intermittent link problems on the network? Are there any hardware issues on the devices? Are there any latency issues? They've left unanswered. And without answer to these questions, you can't really efficiently manage your network. Network management operations in these networks with poorly implemented or without network management systems, they all performed in a reactive mode, right? When you deal with the problems where they actually occurred and you deal with them. And very often inability to perform bulk configuration changes on massive amount of equipment prevents organizations such as wireless internet service providers from implementing new services or optimizing the way network operates, quickly adapt to changes. And needless to say that operation of such networks require a tremendous amount of engineering hours, hours that could be easily saved and spent on much more useful tasks. And bulk software updates is another area where network management systems can help company deal with the large-scale security issues, introductions of new services and optimization of current operations. We all understand that monitoring and management infrastructure of the network equipment that we buy is very important. So when a company decides which network equipment to choose, special attention has to be paid to availability of appropriate management system that incorporates all the important features such as fault management, performance management, configuration management, software updates, visualization, and so on and so forth. So let's take a look at some of the best monitoring and management systems that Winncom Technologies can offer you. Obviously, majority of manufacturers whose products we sell offer some form of network management or network monitoring system. And a vivid example of that is Cambium. So let's start with the flagship network monitoring and management system from Cambium is cnMaestro, which is purposely built to manage and monitor networks running on Cambium equipment. cnMaestro is an easy-to-use management system that provides rich management capabilities and as well as monitoring functions. And the platform can be deployed on premises or in the cloud. The base version of cnMaestro can be used free of charge, and there's also this pro version component which increases number of supported devices that you can monitor and manage, and incorporates some advanced features that are needed by larger networks. So the system was built from ground up for secure end-to-end network lifecycle management, inventory management, onboarding devices, daily operations and maintenance of hardware part of the network. So I need to say that Cambium cnMaestro doesn't support monitoring or management of any non-Cambium devices, so just for Cambium. And over the years, Cambium expanded its portfolio, and it now incorporates many components of the enterprise network. And the idea behind cnMaestro is to provide comprehensive tool to manage this whole portfolio, starting from point-to-point, point-to-multi-point links, and then ending with switches and Wi-Fi access points that were introduced recently. And the system provides full visibility on part of the network built with Cambium equipment, provides useful tools to end-to-end configuration and troubleshooting, serves as a Wi-Fi controller, and it has a lot of features that allow you to efficiently manage your Cambium deployment. Of course, with introduction of CBRS spectrum sharing technologies, equipment operating in 3.5, 3.6 has to communicate with the SAS to ask for bandwidth allocation, and all communications with SAS with Cambium infrastructure are performed with CBRS domain proxy component, and this component is part of cnMaestro, so you cannot run CBRS networks without cnMaestro in your network. And here our engineers were certified with all the major suppliers of SAS databases, and we constantly help our customers to build and run their CBRS networks. And even though the cnMaestro is relatively simple product, it could get very tricky when you need to fine-tune some of the parameters or implement some advanced features. And our engineers have extensive experience in that, so we're helping our customers day and night, and we use cnMaestro almost every day. So you can always reach to us, and we might help you with any problems or questions that you have. So another product from Cambium is PTP820 network management system that was specifically designed to manage large deployments of PTP820 products. The products which are known to be pretty complex in terms of configuration management, and NMS definitely helps with that. Along with management and monitoring of PTP820, the system has some support of monitoring of basic monitoring of third-party devices, but it's obviously the functionality is pretty limited. And product, of course, implements all of the required monitoring and management of functions, including fault management, performance management, configuration management, and security management. So it supports some visualization. For example, here we can see it shows equipment on a geographical map, and this map shows logical structure of network along with the status of network elements in that. So these views are very handy when you have pretty large deployment of PTP820 networks. So the system is pretty complex and requires very skilled engineers to size, license, install, and maintain the system. And yeah, of course, we at Winncom Technologies will help our customers to do that. Another key manufacturer that we carry is Ericsson. Ericsson, of course, has its own network management and monitoring solution that covers whole Ericsson portfolio. On that slide, we can see the stack of technologies that are supported by Ericsson Network Management System, ENM for short. So ENM, of course, supports FCAPS, all FCAPS functions, meaning that it supports fault, configuration, accounting, performance, and security management. And what's more, besides the Ericsson portfolio, the system can also manage, not only monitor, manage and provision some of the third-party network elements such as Cisco ASR 9000 and Juniper MX series routers. ENM was built as a modular platform. It constantly extended with additional modules, and here we see some of the modules that it supports. And one of the recent additions to ENM, as you can see on that slide, is CBRS domain controller, which is an earlier example of cnMaestro, also enables communication with CBRS Spectrum Access database and allows Ericsson LTE products to work in that CBRS frequency spectrum. As you can see on that slide, the system supports a wide array of northbound interfaces and APIs that can be used to integrate with other systems and automate many operation and maintenance procedures. So we have to think about who is the main customer of Ericsson, right? Ericsson's key customers are tier 1 carriers, maybe tier 2, but these are companies like AT&Ts and Verizon's. And these carriers, they have very strong requirement for high availability, reliability, scalability, bulk configuration, and software management. And ENM, of course, was built with these requirements in mind. And this carrier-grade requirements obviously adapt to the complexity of the system. So it requires very skilled personnel to install, manage it, and it also requires pretty high performance hardware resources. And Ericsson designed ENM as an on-premise solution, and due to its carrier-grade nature of the product, it is quite expensive and can only be afforded by probably larger service providers. However, Winncom Technologies can provide you with a cloud-based ENM option. So we have centralized core, and we can provide access to that core. We can slice it for individual customers, and the customer can pay for only what he or she uses. And this way it becomes very affordable and can be used by even smaller WISP. WinManage is another product of one of our key manufacturers, Redline, and the product was introduced just a few years, maybe more, a little more ago. It already provides all the FCAPS functions for Redline wireless portfolio. What distinguishes that system from other private manufacturer management solutions is that it supports some form of third-party device monitoring. So it could be used as a single network management and monitoring solutions for networks that heavily rely on Redline portfolio and has some small amount of third-party devices. On that slide, we see some example page from Redline WinManage. And here we see some detailed information, operational metrics of Redline base station. So yeah, the page is pretty self-explanatory. What is good about WinManage is that it integrates with other Redline tools such as our planner, where you can design your network, and SAT, where you can even before the install, you can predict how the quality of the service will be for each specific customer of yours. Products like WinDeploy and WinTouch. And this makes it a complete solution that can support complete life cycle of network devices, starting from initial deployment, even pre-deployment, and pre-configuration, and following with operation, monitoring, management, and replacement of the equipment. As many network management systems, WinManage could be complex, and with Winncom Technologies help our customers with initial configuration, tuning, and operation of the systems. Originally, the system is designed as an on-premise solution, However, we have multiple customers who we help to host that solution in public cloud service to eliminate on-site server maintenance. One more solution that we see a lot of interest from our customers, especially in WISP and ISP market, is NetElastic. The system isn't a management or monitoring system per se. In terms that it's not managing or monitoring any of your devices. However, it does manage some aspect of your network, your subscribers. And NetElastic is broadband network gateway solution that terminates your subscriber sessions. And it doesn't matter how the subscribers are connected. On that picture, we see that they're connecting through DSLAM, but that could easily be Ethernet switches, some GPON equipment, point-to-point or point-to-multipoint radios. And NetElastic is a central component that provides authentication, authorization, and accounting for subscriber sessions, and enforces quality of service policy. Enforces quality, yeah. So NetElastic is Broadband Network Gateway, BNG, or BRAS, Broadband Remote Access Server, as these technologies were called in the past. It works together with a radio server, a component that stores your user database, and it makes sure that all the users in your network who use your internet or your services are authenticated, have active and current accounts, and use only the services and speed that they pay for. It supports classical PPoE and IPoE technologies, as well as static IP assignment. Obviously, products like this were in the market for a long time. There are a wide range of vendors that work in that area. But what makes NetElastic any different is NetElastic uses latest advancements in server network chips. Their solution can provide unimaginable performance on standard x86 servers. Traditional hardware solutions from Cisco, and Nokia, and Juniper are tailored for larger pods and often cost prohibitive in smaller applications because they're designed and built on a very expensive and tailored hardware chips. Some solutions like MikroTik Cloud Core Hours, while they can support this functionality to some extent, they have some scalability limitations as well. So comparing to all hardware solutions from Cisco, Juniper, and Nokia, or whatnot, solutions from NetElastic are much more affordable because there is no hardware involved, and due to the fact that they're all software, is much more flexible and manageable, while offering the same carrier-grade functionality and reliability. And due to these facts, NetElastic is getting a lot of attention from the market, and it won many innovation and performance awards from different entities. So, all right, we went over some of the manufacturer-specific network management tools with very useful and allow to save a lot of time and efforts. They also help to keep network secure, updated, and provide insight on minor issues and trends that might precede upcoming problems or outages, and allow network owners to apply proactive and network maintenance approaches. However, by implementing management systems for each manufacturer that you use on your network, you end up with multiple management solutions, each of which monitor just its own part, and you don't see the complete picture of your network. Also, network elements that do not have its own management system are often left without monitoring at all. In this scenario, if the network outage occurs, Network administrator will see availability issues in all the management systems he has. And finding the root cause can be very tricky. The fact is that while manufacturer management systems are very helpful for operations and configurations, they don't provide you with a holistic view on your network. And in today's connected world, a typical organization has so many different types of IP devices, servers, applications, cloud platforms, third-party integrations that work together to support business operation. The health, availability, and performance of each of these components often have direct impact on your business. And in order to ensure the business continuity, flawless operation, and decrease the downtime, you have to stay on top of all that. And the only solution, only affordable solution for this is vendor agnostic network monitoring solution that would provide you with actual and complete picture of current state of your whole network, collect important metrics from all components in it, alert you when something goes wrong, will keep historical data so that you can identify trends, and notify you when important operational parameters reach certain thresholds and help you identify the root cause of problems when the network outage happens. So we at Winncom Technologies are very proud that our portfolio includes one of the best solutions in that area, Paceler PRTG. And as you can see on that slide, we're Paceler's platinum partner, and we're platinum partner globally. This is the highest partnership level out there. And of course, we have a whole team of certified engineers, software developers, product managers, and of course, sales who support our PRTG business around the world. PRTG supports monitoring of all IT assets, including hardware like routers, switches, firewalls, servers, storage systems, radios, power, printers, and so on and so forth. Supports probably all modern and popular virtualization platforms, as well as database servers, application servers, and applications, no matter where they hosted on premises or in the cloud. And with intelligent auto discovery functions, PRTG will go over your network and automatically find, recognize, and start monitoring all your devices and services that are reachable over IP. And this happens instantly as soon as you install it. Fast, first usable monitoring data and functionality will be available like in a few minutes after you install the system. It's very easy to use and flexible. It does not require very deep technical skills. The system installs on Windows Server with an easy-to-use installer, often with just multiple clicks on the next button. And the components of the product are built in, so you don't have to install separate database server or HTTP server. What is more, the product doesn't require too much of a maintenance. Whatever you would do to maintain your Windows server, in many cases, the same exact process will work for PRTG. And also the product includes all the monitoring features of enterprise-grade network monitoring solution. And in the same package, you get fault management, alerting, net flow and packet capture, traffic analysis, basic trouble ticketing system, and yeah, there's a lot of functions that you get in the same package. And with many other network monitoring solutions, these features are coming as a separate modules, which you have to purchase. And with PRTG, you get it all in the same economical price. Of course, PRTG has a lot of advantages. It comes with built-in support for thousands of network devices from well-known vendors. And with its flexibility and open API, you can add support for other less known devices. and services that you use in your network. And Winncom Technologies uses this extensibility of PRTG to implement monitoring sensors for a wide range of radio products. And for now, we support more than 100 different radio devices from different radio manufacturers. In many cases, all it takes to start monitoring your network is to download 30 days trial product that comes without any functional or quantitative restrictions. Install it on your Windows machine and start monitoring. After 30 days trial, a license expires and you can still use up to 100 sensors for free for life. And then if you decide to purchase the product, you can purchase the license, apply it, and convert your deployment to production monitoring solution. And the power, flexibility, and simplicity of product and the business model makes this product suitable for a wide range of verticals. And we will briefly go over some of the verticals where we see PRTG find its popularity. And probably one of the most common use cases for us at Winncom Technologies is WISP. And we work with dozens of WISP customers in that area. And unique feature set of PRTG makes it very suitable for WISP environment. So on that slide, you can see some of the feedback from WISP owner that he thought after implementation of PRTG project. And we hear a lot of testimonials like that from our customers. So what makes PRTG so suitable for WISP environment? If you ever exposed to WISP environment, you probably saw a wide variety of network equipment running on the same network. And you probably saw a mix of Cambium, Ubiquiti, Mimosa, MikroTik, and so forth. And to manage this kind of deployment, WISP would typically have separate management systems that would manage specific part of the network. And you will probably see 4, 5, 6 such systems on the network. And none of the management systems, though, provide you with a complete picture. What's more, radio manufacturers are very creative in the way they implement monitoring capabilities with cnMP. And not only each manufacturer has its own MIP database to monitor almost the same metrics, such as RSSI and SINR, let's say. Often different products within the same manufacturer have different cnMP MIPs. What is more, what we've noticed is the same product of the same manufacturer, but with different firmware version, could have completely different cnMP MIP. And due to this fact, the use of standard vendor agnostic monitoring system is very hard and even impossible in such environments. Because in the most cases, vendor agnostic network monitoring system doesn't allow use of overlapping MIP-OIDs. And what radio manufacturers do, even though that cnMP MIP is completely different for their product, they reuse the same OIDs, and that's a problem. We saw that problem in many of our customers' networks. They were struggling to implement centralized network monitoring for years. And we used extensibility of PRTG to implement a mechanism that recognizes each particular radio unit and applies metric capture mechanisms that are suitable not only to the particular product, but for even specific firmware version. So within 3-4 years, we extended our supported device database to hundreds of different types of radio, power, and environmental equipment. And we can constantly work on extending this database. So this product is called WinCloud Sensor Pack, and it's available to our customers who purchase PRTG through us. And it is a separate extension module, which you install on top of PRTG, and the pricing is very, very affordable. What else? What else PRTG brings to the WISP? Obviously, you get your single window where you see all your whole network and can monitor every aspect of your devices, down to CPU usage on your switches, fan speeds on your routers, temperature on in your enclosures, so on and so forth. And responsible engineers will be timely alerted not only when the problem already happened, but in many cases before it started to cause service disruption. For example, failing fan in your router most likely won't fail overnight. It will show signs of decay for a long time before dying and taking your whole router with it. So PRTG can notify you that fan speed is below the threshold, so your engineers can schedule repair and not only save the network from the downtime, but potentially an expensive router. Historical data will allow you to identify trends and learn what causes them, as you will have the historical performance statistics for all your equipment, each piece that constitutes your network. And this information can be used to properly fine-tune your network to ensure that all your customers, all your components are getting adequate service. Another great feature of PRTG is that it provides out-of-the-box support for multi-tenancy, meaning that on the same core server, you might have multiple users with completely separate networks, and these users won't know that they share a single PRTG instance. And we see how some of our WISP customers use this feature to provide their business customers with network monitoring service. And the idea is that WISP uses its own core server and then deploys this little piece of software on a Windows machine in customer's network. Then this probe connects to the core server, and you can set up and monitor equipment in a completely separate network to which you don't even have IP access. So in this case, WISP could monitor the network on behalf of the business customer, or they can provide access to that systems. They can create credentials and allow business customers to monitor their own network. This was just one example of how PRTG helps organizations in one particular market to quickly implementing a modern network monitoring solution. And there's so many other verticals that benefit from PRTG. And to talk about success of PRTG in some other verticals, I would like to introduce to you Senior Channel Sales Manager from Paisler AG, a well-known monitoring expert and our friend. Please welcome Jason Grinnell. Elaine, can you please assign a presenter to Jason?
Thanks, Camille. I appreciate it. As you mentioned earlier, Winncom is one of our only platinum partners, and some other features that you guys are able to provide that a lot of our other partners are not is professional services, as well as education as well. So I just wanted to spend a few minutes to kind of give the attendees an idea of some of our verticals that we're particularly strong in, how we help those verticals, and ultimately just share some stories from some of our case studies in each one of those. Education is by far our largest vertical. We're very strong in K through 12 as well as higher education as well. A lot of this comes down to the fact that many of these colleges and public schools in the K through 12 environment, they have multiple locations that they have to keep on top of all the switches and firewalls and host servers and virtual machines and CCTV cameras and all of this disparate information that's coming into their school systems on a daily or monthly basis. And the point of monitoring, it's all about being proactive, monitoring your environment. So if an issue pops up, you know about it before any of your users know about it, so that you can get on it, you can fix it before they even knew that there was an issue. That way, you don't have people calling you and being the first to know about the email being down or the website being down, or some bandwidth utilization issues going on in the environment. So it really helps to reduce the cost of unplanned downtime, as well as taking the stress off of the people that are actually doing the IT administration work. But as I said, a lot of these schools and colleges are dispersed over large areas, cities, counties, sometimes states for large state institutions, like in New York State, like the SUNY system, the Penn State system. I know most states have very large public systems typically. Many of them have very limited IT staff, they have tight budgets, and as I said, they need to monitor a lot of different stuff within those environments. And what Camille had just shown around some of our MSP capabilities with our multi-tenancy, that comes from our remote probes. And any license of PRTG, you get an unrestricted amount of remote probes that you can put on branch offices, data centers, remote customers, cloud infrastructure, however you want it. The remote probes, it's an agent, it's a lightweight data collector that's going to sit on site, typically on a Windows client, and collect information and send that back to your core server, typically at the home office. So that really helps cut down on the burden for a lot of these IT admins, and being able to, and having to keep track of what's going on in all of these various locations, is having the remote probes bringing all of this data via encrypted TLS connection back to the core server. One of our British customers, it's Lord Wandsworth College. One of the unique things that they do with their PRTG environment is they use it to monitor their printer toner levels. So they have sensors on each printer, not just monitoring on or off by a ping, but also monitoring the toner levels. We can do that for all the major manufacturers out there. That way, when the toner gets down to, let's say, 5 or 10%, either as an admin is sent out to replace that toner cartridge, or an order is automatically placed through their reseller of choice. And so that arrives before the printer's down and someone's standing there waiting for someone else to come out and fix it. So it reduces downtimes just from a printer standpoint. And with our notifications, the notifications can come in any number of different ways, via email, SMS, PagerDuty if you're using something along those lines, Slack, Microsoft Teams. We even have the ability to do executables through like custom scripts. And what's nice about the notifications is that if you have a very large system where people are responsible for either various locations or various segments, like someone may be in charge of the backups, another person in charge of the networking gear, another person is in charge of the VMs, then you can have those notifications specific to those people. And they can be whatever their specific favorite type of notification is. Like I said, email or a text or a Slack message. So it really does allow for a lot of customization. Virginia Tech, for example, has, I think, over 140 different locations, and they have different IT admins that help manage different locations. And in some cases, they have outsourced MSPs and resellers that help them manage some of these locations. So they have their notifications set up per location. Some go internal, some go external to partners as well. And a huge benefit for educational institutions as well as a lot of government institutions. Our licensing is super easy to understand. We offer perpetual licensing still, and it's no matter if you're using the lowest level of PRTG to the highest level, it's the same exact product, only difference is the number of sensors that you're able to deploy. Healthcare is another area where we've seen a lot of interest in PRTG, I would say, over the last 2 to 3 years. That's only been increasing over the last 3 to 6 months as well. Because when you look at a lot of these different healthcare systems, they have to have pretty much everything within their environments available 24/7. When saving a life, every second counts. So all the IT assets, medical staff, and technology need to work perfectly. And a lot of the IT staff doesn't always, unlike the medical employees, work at night or on weekends. So that presents some additional challenges as well. Some facilities maintain functionality of networks across distributed locations, and most hospitals and hospital systems have a pretty complex infrastructure. So when it comes to trying to choose like what to monitor and how to prioritize, normally most places will start with the healthcare systems and interfaces to ensure that the devices and interfaces are responding appropriately. When it comes to transferal and storage of medical imaging data, being able to monitor the DICOM devices to make sure they're responding and the bandwidth used to store the images is sufficient. We're one of the only monitoring solutions that does have specific sensors for DICOM and HL7, which are protocols specific to the healthcare industry. Work list entries, so making sure the number of work list entries to ensure there are not any bottlenecks or other problems there. Traditional IT servers and devices to kind of check on aspects like bandwidth, storage space, uptime, CPU usage. There's quite a few different entities. I'm in South Carolina. The University of South Carolina Nursing School uses PRTG to monitor the traditional IT infrastructure. I know the Vanderbilt hospital system, they use PRTG to monitor both their traditional as well as their medical infrastructure as well. We have some great use cases on our website from some of our other customers like Cambium Cancer Center and the Lions Eye Institute as well. The final vertical I'm going to talk about is government. Again, this is an area I think that we're particularly well suited for, and a lot of it's based on some of the challenges that are very similar to the educational space, such as distributed networks, heterogeneous IT infrastructure. Again, data is very sensitive typically in the government space, and 24/7 availability of services. And again, the benefits are very similar to that educational spot as far as ease of licensing, cost, ability to monitor security, other critical systems. We do have support for SNMP v3, which is very important to most government organizations as it pertains to security. We have a number of very large U.S. government customers from the federal side, like the U.S. military and NASA, down to the South Carolina, DMV, for instance. So it kind of runs the gamut as to who's using our software, but it all comes to, I'd say, some of our strongest features are the ability to monitor pretty much anything that has an IP address within a organization, our ease of licensing, and then our cost too. We're a very cost-effective solution. I'd like to thank Winncom for allowing me to join today. Camille's contact information is up here as well as mine. So if you have any questions around PESTLR or PRTG, feel free to reach out.